Alright guys, it's Radiant, and for today's video we're going to go over how much health each type of siege has and how much damage each type of siege does and how many shots it'll take to take out each siege with that information. So all this information is in the description of this video, so you're welcome to copy paste it and save it to a text file on your computer. And so the first thing we have here is the siege health, and you'll notice for the blueprints, the stuff that you can actually throw down and build, the build sites will start with 10% of their eventual health when you throw it down. And so if you add up all the green numbers you get when you're building up the siege, you'll get a number that's equal to 90% of the siege's health because it already started with 10% of its health. So divide that number by 0.9, you'll get the siege HP. And I did test it out with superior and basic siege, they have the same health. So it doesn't matter if it's superior or basic, it'll have the same health. And here's what all the numbers came out to. For oil, mortars, and cannons, I tested that out manually just by attacking it and adding up numbers when I recorded, but the blueprints are all like this. And the deployable siege, they all have the same armor rating. So flame ram and catapult have the same armor rating. Flame ram, arrow cart, ballista all have the same armor rating. And whether or not it's a build site or fully built, it still has the same armor rating. So a build site has the same armor rating as something that's fully built. Now cannons, mortars, and oil have a higher armor rating than deployable siege. We'll get into that a little bit later. So you guys know how to read, so I just want to go over, won't read like every single number here, I just want to talk about what each category represents. Single click damage to deployable siege. So I tested out all these different siege items here, and these numbers represent how much damage one attack does. And so why did I word it that way? Well, it kind of gets confusing. Burning oil skill 1 hits 6 times, arrow cart skill 1 hits 8 times. So the burning oil skill 1 hits 6 times, and for a total, if you add up all the numbers, does this much damage to deployable siege. And the arrow cart skill 1 does this much damage to deployable siege. You'll notice the mortar hits the highest, followed by the cannon. Those hit really hard. Ballista skill 3 hits hard, but kind of has a long recharge. Trebs hit pretty hard as well, 5 seconds on their recharge. And oil actually hits pretty hard. A lot of the damage is condition damage to players, but a lot of people don't realize the direct damage is pretty good as well. And so that's how much damage each type of siege does. Ballista skill 3 does more damage than skill 1 on the ballista. Ballista skill 1 does more damage than ballista skill 2. Ballista skill 2 though is an AoE shot. Now, flame ram skill 1 on another siege item and shield gen skill 1 on another siege item, they don't do that much damage. And so if you just divide by the skill recharges, you'll get the DPS. For the Ballista DPS, it's talking about right here, alternating skill 3 and skill 1, or just using skill 3 when it's recharged, otherwise use skill 1. That's the DPS. Cannons, mortars hit really hard, you'll notice. And so we have the siege HP, we have how much damage it does, how much DPS it does. You can use that to calculate how many shots it'll take to kill each type of siege. And for all these numbers, I mean, if you want, you can pretty much round them up. Basic treb takes 7.68 shots to kill a ram. Now if you happen to throw a superior treb instead, it's going to be 5.12 shots. So you really have to round these numbers up, because if it takes 7.68 shots, well, it's really going to take 8 shots. If it takes 5.12 shots, well, it's going to take 6 shots, unless there's damage coming from another source, not from you. So that's really the reason why I left these decimals in here. For example, a cannon takes 4.12 shots to kill a ram. So if the ram is taking damage from another source, well, if it's just even a little bit of damage, that might already be enough to where instead of 5 cannon shots, it's now 4 cannon shots. That's really the only reason why I left that in there. Now for some of these, I actually tested it out with how long it took. You might think, well, you should be able to just calculate how long it takes by dividing by the DPS and stuff. And you could try that, but what happens is there's skill lag, there's delay, there's aftercast, all this other stuff. And so some of these I didn't do all of these, but for some of these I tested it out with stopwatch, I tested this out with a buddy. That's how I got this information. And so to basic arrow cart down a ram took 1:45, where all 8 of the arrow cart attacks hit the ram. Superior arrow cart takes 1:10 to take out a ram. Remember, catapults have 2.4 times less health than rams. They do the same amount of damage because deployable siege has the same armor rating. Took 48 seconds with a basic arrow cart against catapult. Superior arrow cart against catapult, 32 seconds. And you guys can read this, so let's keep scrolling. This is not rare information at all right here. That's just the radius of each attack. Here's something that I tested also. how much supply it takes to repair basic and reinforced and fortified stuff. These are approximated, plus or minus 20 supply, I would say, in terms of accuracy. Just have some additional notes here. We already discussed this stuff. Golems have different armor rating than deployable siege. That's why you don't see golems here. Now I will say I did test out cannons against golems, and cannons do take 4 shots to take out a golem. And then, like I said, cannons, oil, mortar, they have a higher armor rating than the deployable siege. So I did test that out separately. Turned out, looked at how much DPS each one does by how much damage each shot does dividing by the skill recharge, and provided some information about how long it takes to take out cannons and oil with ballista compared to arrow cards. So you guys know how to read, so I'll just leave this in the description. You're welcome to copy paste it, save it to your computer. One last thing I want to finish on, I do have another video, I'll leave a link to it in the description, on how long it takes to take down a gate or wall based on the upgrade status and what siege you're using. I think it's pretty interesting. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you're interested in watching that video as well. But anyways, that concludes this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.